Hi, welcome back. So in the last video, we finished with an exercise to get acquainted with the basics of JavaScript, the intro to JavaScript, which included variables and kind of the three elementary functions or methods that we have in JavaScript. So in this video, we are going to start with something known as flow of control in JavaScript, right? So first of all, what do I mean by flow of control? Flow of control basically means that if I have a set of statements, which statement will be executed and which will not be executed, and which will be executed first and which will be executed last, right? So, of course, we've kind of already fixed one thing, that the statement that is written first gets executed first. And that will be the case no matter what happens, because JavaScript is a sequential language. So whatever you write first gets executed first, right? But this is the normal flow. There are two ways in which you could alter the flow of JavaScript, right? And it is not like if you've written 3 lines of code, then the bottom one will be executed first. I mean, you could do that, but that would be a kind of different thing and not something that we are talking about here. So basically the two altering flow methods that I'm talking about are conditionals and loops, right? So first of all, how do they alter the flow? And second, what are they? So that is what we're going to see in this section basically, right? So first, let's see conditionals. So what do conditionals do? This is basically all that they do. That they are a set of things that can help you do something like this, that if this is the case, do this, else if that is not the case, do this. What it means is that you are checking something like, let's say you are checking your age, right? Let's say you're making a program where you need to check your age, and you're saying that if age is less than 18, print you are not an adult, or if age is more than 18, print you are an adult. Now, of course, you do not have to print both of these in all the cases, right? You only have to print one, and that is dependent on a condition. So that is where you would use conditionals in your code, right? So this is what it is. If this is the case, in our example, the case is being less than 18, then do this would mean print you are a minor, or else you would print you are an adult, right? So that is basically all that conditionals are. And how do they help you alter the flow? Imagine you have a 100-line code, and then you have an if condition in between. If condition is basically a conditional, right? So you have a conditional in between. So it might be that this condition is not satisfied, and hence these lines of code are skipped, and you simply get to these lines. So you have basically changed the flow a little, right? So that is what a conditional is. So let's see an example of conditional and how we can use them, right? So let's save the JavaScript file as jsconditionals.js. And I'll move this outside of this. I'll make a new folder in this. And I'll move this folder outside. So now I have a different folder for JavaScript workflow, and I'm going to move my JS conditionals inside this. So now when you're looking for this code on GitHub, you can go to the JavaScript workflow folder and you can look for this file jsconditionals.js, right? But of course, before we write any code in here, we're going to need an HTML file with which we can open this up in our browser, right? So we will save this as jsconditionals.html. Now I'll get my standard HTML template, indent this properly, change my title to JS conditionals, and I can give it an h1 just to put some content there saying JS conditionals. All right. So now we have our basic HTML, and before we do anything, let's just link our JS file to this. So that is done through a script tag, and you can do src is equal to, you have to give the name of this, right? JS Conditionals .js, right? So now we have linked both these files, and just to check everything is working, we'll do as alert connected. And if I open this up, I see I get my alert connected. So this is working perfectly fine. All right. So now let's see a conditional inside JavaScript. So first of all, let's just implement the same example that we saw during the introduction, that if your age is less than 18, we will print minor, else we will print adult, right? And of course, we do not have any way to print that to the page right now. So we will print that to the console using a console.log. And so now we need an input in every run. So how do you get an input? You get an input through a prompt. Enter your age. So now if I refresh, I get a prompt saying enter your age, and I can simply say something like 100. And of course, nothing happens right now, but now we can start writing our conditional. So how you write a conditional is, you give an if. Inside here, you will give a condition, which we'll see just now. Then you will give an else, right? And now there are some syntax errors in this, as we are getting with VS Code, of course. But few things that I want to tell you. First is that you could have a standalone if as well, right? It is perfectly fine if you do not have an else and you just have an if. We'll see that in this video too. So first, let's give our condition. We give age. Okay, so now first you need to know some basic conditional checkers, that if you want to check something greater than or less than, this is for greater than. Okay, so this means greater than. This is normal mathematics things. This means less than. And now if you want a greater than equal to, you will have this, right? And this will mean greater than or equal to. Now if you want a less than equal to, you will have this. Right? And now to check equals, right? You might think that to check equal, you would do something like, if you wanted to check equality of A and B, you would do A is equal to B. However, in the intro video to JavaScript, we saw that this was a way for assigning a value, right? This is not a way to check a value. So how do you check a value? You check it with double equals in JavaScript, right? So in JavaScript, you can have two things, double equals or triple equals. So what this means is that I'll first comment all of this, because this is a lot of errors, right? And I'll remove this line, right? So there are two things, these, right? So what are these and what is the difference, first of all? So both of them are used for checking equality. They will return true to you if both these things are equal, and they will return false if they are not equal. So what's the difference? The difference is that triple equal to checks the type and double equal to does not check the type. What do I mean by that? If we have something like 18, triple equals 18 but in string, right? This will give us false. However, if we have something like 18 double equal to 18, this gives us true. And this is the only difference between triple equals and double equals. So now this example was for integer and string. You could compare any two types, and if they have the same value, like we can see they have the same value, you get true with double equals. but you get false with triple equals because this checks your type of the data too, right? So these are the